Hello everybody, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. I have finally updated to the new version 1.0.2.842 that just came out, which fixed a whole bunch of glitches and mods, or not mods, but just glitches that luckily I hadn't encountered in the previous version, but well, I guess we won't encounter them now because we have the new version. So let's go right back into our original game. There's Valentina right there. Resume our saved game, where we have lots of things to do. For instance, spend all our science. So let's go ahead and we'll do that first. I do have a nice 63 science to spend. I definitely do want this because I want to get this Terrier engine and the bigger fuel tank. But of course, if I do that, I won't have science for anything else. For example, this stuff. I do kind of want to get spaceplane stuff. There's a lot of things that I do need, just not as much science. Let me think. Now, there's a couple options I have. Now, I definitely am going to go and buy the astronaut complex so I can get some EVAs going, which will mean that I can get some more science from outer space. So I think what I'm actually going to do... Yes, let's get this advanced rocketer so we can get into orbit a little easier, which leaves us with 18. We're not going to have enough for anything else, so we'll go back. And I am going to buy the astronaut complex upgrade. I can't believe I didn't get this before. Again, you'll have to forgive me. This is the first time I'm playing KSP where the buildings aren't upgraded, so sometimes I kind of forget to do that because, like I said, I never played career mode in 0.90, so I'm not used to all this, but that's okay. What else could we probably upgrade? We only have 200,000 left. Is there anything that's simple? Mission control. The VAB is a big upgrade. Administrative building. I'm not going to bother with that. This is a huge upgrade. Holy crap. Mission control. I might get this one. Maybe. Yeah, you know what? Well, I'll just kind of wait until we kind of need things. So let's see. Where were we? What do we have active? We had nothing active. Completed all contracts so far. Let's see. I do want to get this visual survey. It expires very quickly. I'm just gonna grab it real quick because that's kind of easy to get. And science data from space around Kerbin, which I think will actually be the next one that I do grab. Let me just take a look. There's a lot of these little simple ones. Test the Flea solid fuel booster at the launch site. Seriously? We totally did that one already. So, I mean, it was like one of the first things we ever did. But you know what? We might as well get that one too, because that's just simple, easy science. Let's go back. We'll just go ahead and test that real quick before we do anything else. Yes. Test the Flea solid fuel booster. Let's do that one, which is super easy. We're just gonna go like that, just in case something horrible happens. We'll put the parachute, and there is the Flea right there. That's it. And you know what? You don't even have to put that much thrust or fuel into it. I'm not expecting to go too crazy with this mission. Just want to get a quick, easy science. I've also updated the Kerbal Engineer mod to the appropriate version, and the Planetshine mod got an update too. So if you guys are following these mods, anytime Kerbal updates, basically it's going to prompt you to update that, which is fine. So let's go ahead and get the Flea booster. Here we go. That's it. Contract complete. Very good. Just open our parachute. Hopefully that doesn't glitch out. Okay, good. Okay. There we go. And that's us on the ground yet again. So let's go ahead and recover the vessel. We'll get that contract, that science, and dat money. That's what we're all about at first. Fledgling space programs need dat money. Wow, we did. Oh, we got nothing. I thought we earned 19. I was like, wow, that was pretty good for doing nothing. But anyway, let's go back. And we do have the visual survey. I do want this one, science data from space around Kerbin. That's easy. So we're going to go ahead and accept that contract. We're going to do that one first, and then we'll do the visual survey, maybe in the next video, but we're definitely going to assign some of that data around Kerbin, because we can totally, we're orbital now, we're an orbital spacefaring nation now, so we can do that. Let's go ahead, and I'm pretty sure we do have goo from space, but just in case we don't, we'll just throw 2 of them on there. I was watching some Scott Manley videos, and he suggested putting these goo containers up here towards the top, because it'll balance your center of mass a little better. He said some techno jumble that made sense to me, but I can't replicate it in any sort of meaningful way. All I can say is, it's better to put goo up high. That just shows how technical I am. But anyways, we're just gonna throw that on here, and we are gonna throw the heat shield onto here. And someone left a comment basically saying you don't even need to keep the Science Junior attached, simply because you can just take the data from the Science Junior and store it in the capsule. But that's why we upgraded the astronaut complex, so we can get EVAs. We weren't able to do that before, and so we had to keep this attached. But now that I know that we can just take the data from here and just store it in the capsule, we don't need to do anything crazy. We can just literally have re-entry in this little capsule. That makes it a million times better, literally a million times. So anyway, let's get some things. We did buy this, so we're gonna buy it. We unlocked it, now we're gonna buy it. So we have this, and maybe just this will be like our little orbiter. Oh, we do have to buy the Terrier. There we go. So this will be our orbiter. Actually, we should include the Science Junior. Actually, let me think. I think we already did get data from the Science Junior. Let me just double check that real quick. Yes, I'm checking right here. It looks like we have the materials study from space near Kerbin, but what we don't have is a high orbit Kerbin materials study or a high orbit mystery goo. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get high orbit stuff. I'll just clear this one out here. High orbit data from both the goo and the materials bay. So yes, we are going to need the materials bay. So this will be our little orbiter craft. It's nice and cute. Again, we got to be careful that we don't go over the 30-part maximum here. That was a problem in our other episode, because I kind of didn't have enough of these big parts, but I think now that we have enough of them, it should be fine. We don't need to get crazy fancy. We'll put the swivel engine on propellant. That was another thing someone mentioned. Let's drain the monopropellant from the capsule, because it's just extra weight, extra money, and we don't even have any RCS, so we don't even need to use it. So that's actually really interesting, and it's good that's in here. It's taken me a while to just kind of learn all the new things. And here's the new part that was added, the basic fin. Now this costs no money. Actually pretty useful. It says it might not be the cutting edge of aerospace engineering, but it's dirt cheap and will make your rocket slightly less unstable. So let's say you're using a pilot that's not a pilot, which I think we're going to do in this episode, and you don't want your rocket to flip over. You're going to need these basic fins to keep your rocket safe. Speaking of, we want more science, and so Jeb's got a lot of experience. Valentina's got a lot of experience, although she's got 1 star. Jeb didn't quite level up yet. We are going to get Bob rather, the scientist. Bob Kerman, the science Herman. I don't know. See, that's me trying to be funny. It doesn't really work out too well. But anyway, with the scientists on board, you do get more science, and that's what this mission's all about. It's getting more science so that we can just advance up that tech tree. Now, I believe this rocket should be orbit capable, but just in case it isn't, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. Might need to add just a couple things. Let's see. Should we add some little boosters on the side? How many parts do we have? 20, so we can probably add something. Or maybe this will be enough. Let me just think for a second. Why don't we do this? Let's add a couple, just a little more fuel at the top. 45. That should be enough for the basic orbiter there. And hopefully it'll get us up into high orbit. If not, we'll come back and add a couple more little stages on there. In fact, you know, yeah, let's just throw a couple boosters on there, because why not? Hopefully this doesn't nuke this thing here. We might have to do some changes here, but let's just... we want this one. Here we go, we'll do that. Hopefully this doesn't damage that. If it does, oops. And how are we doing on parts? Good, fine. We're just gonna bolt this on like this. That'll give us plenty of delta V. And you know, maybe to be safe, maybe we'll just kinda... I don't know if we could do that. Would that make sense? Not really. It kind of works. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Maybe I'll just use 3. That should hopefully avoid the flames and still be sort of aerodynamic. Yeah, that'll probably work, probably. If it doesn't, then we'll make some changes. But anyway, I have to save it as orbiter, and let's go ahead and launch it. You have to forgive me, I kind of backtrack a lot and second guess because I'm not like too good at this game. I just kind of get lucky a lot, and I kind of been playing it for a while. There's a lot of little ins and outs and what have yous, and that other players just know automatically. So Bob here cannot do SAS, so we're going to have to rely on these little things here to keep us on the straight and narrow. Hopefully that all works out. I'm just going to double check the staging here, make sure everything's all good to go. And let's get this thing launched. It's looking good so far. It's going to be a bit wobbly because, again, we don't have SAS. So let those things go. And we'll just try to keep this thing pointed towards the 90-degree mark. It's very, very wobbly. Probably would have been a little more stable with maybe 4 of these, but actually so far we're doing okay. This is way different than flying with SAS. Holy cripes. It's not going to be our perfect launch here, but you know, it'll be fine. It'll be just fine. Someone was telling me too in a comment, and I appreciate the comments, guys, like, because they really do help. Because again, I'm not the smartest when it comes to this game. I do need, you know, some tips here and there, so I appreciate it. Somebody commented that in this new version with the aerodynamic model, it's more efficient to just immediately start turning ever so slightly to the 90. So it's very different. You don't want to wait till 10 kilometers before you start turning, just because of the way the aerodynamic model works now. It's supposedly more realistic, which is interesting. That's very good, actually. And again, I didn't know that, so I forget who commented, but thank you for that information. Probably going to help me out a lot. And as you can see, I am struggling a bit to keep this thing straight. Here we are. But I think we're going to be okay, and I want this apoapsis to go up pretty high. I want us to be in high orbit, which is I think 300 kilometers. Now, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle at 300 kilometers, but as long as we get to 300 kilometers at some point, we'll be okay. That's what I want. That's what we're going for. We're going for the high orbit science. And I think hopefully we should have enough. Now, the only thing I am worried about is our electric charge. I should probably keep this on here. Our electric charge will start to run out because we don't have an engine that can charge it up, and we don't have batteries just yet. So we'll have to do this kind of quickly, which I think we can totally manage, because we're not going to have SAS draining our power. So I think we'll be okay. I do want to get some more height. Let's just take a look here. That is one of the spots we do have to visit. I'm thinking we'll take a space plane out there at some point. But not now, not yet. We're at 84. Still doing pretty good with our fuel. Again, we don't need to get it a perfect circle, but we do want to get at least the apoapsis to a decent height. Thinking maybe 200 kilometers might do it. We'll try 200. There we go. Alright, we'll try it. We'll try the 200. Can't put maneuver nodes yet because, again, we don't have the tracking station upgrade. That might be next. We'll see. Well, there's Bob in space. Bob is indeed in space, and there he is. Let's just see if we can get this thing evened out here. Okay, not too bad. Let's see if we can get Bob out in EVA. There's our first spacewalk right there. EVA report above the water. We'll keep it. And we'll board. So that's our first EVA report from space. I'm pretty sure our crew reports are already satisfied, yep. As well as our goo reports. So just have to keep in mind that our apoapsis is approaching. Let's get up there. In fact, we might not even need to complete the orbit, believe it or not. Let's see where we're at now. Still near Kerbin. We'll see if 200 kilometers does it. If not, then yes, we'll have to make some adjustments. Let's get to the apoapsis. Here we are at 200. Still near Kerbin, so I have a feeling that we're going to need to burn a little higher to get a little bit higher. So let's just get the ship into a stable orbit. We want this just to be at least at orbit worthy, 87. Again, I'm not going to go crazy. I'm going to wait till we loop around and bulge this out a little more on that side, because we are running low on fuel and power, so we don't want to run out of either of those things. Let's just go ahead and warp ourselves along. We are going to begin to fall now, but that's okay. We know that we are in a safe orbit. In fact, why waste time? Let's see. Let's look at the surface features. We can tell where we're at. We're over the highlands. Let's get an EVA report from the highlands. That's what's really good about the Kerbal Engineer, Flight Engineer system here. It kind of shows you where you're at so that you don't have to keep guessing. Because each one of these little biomes, you can do an EVA report over it and you'll get more science for it, which is pretty awesome. So whenever that changes, grasslands, let's do a grasslands EVA now. Look at that. Oh, it still says we must have missed it. Yep, we're right back into highlands again. We missed it. Changed very quickly. Oh, and it tells us too, in space low. So we didn't even have to guess. It just kind of tells us. So it's pretty nifty to have this thing. Man, these highlands just keep on going, don't they? Grasslands, come on, let's do it quickly. Grasslands, we got it. Okay. Board. There's lots of different biomes you can zoom over. There's probably one for water. There's probably one for lowlands. I know there's definitely one for the poles. We'll have to go there at some point. Shores. Can we do the shores? Oh, we already got those. Oh, no, maybe we didn't. Maybe we didn't. Yep, we're good now. Got it. Good job, Bob. Bob is like... he's the ultimate EVA man. Water. Did we get water? Got the water. Oh, I guess we got it already. Okay. So this is a great way to just farm science from space. We do want to just watch out. Once we get to the periapsis, we'll bulge this out to about 200, or 300 rather. And that'll be our upper. Alright. Periapsis is rapidly approaching. Let's go to the prograde vector, which should be about 90 degrees. There she is. And the sun is about to come up, I'm sure of it. You can start to see it lighten up. So we just want to bulge out this orbit just a little bit. Push it out to about 300. And you can see it there. Boosting out. Keeping an eye on the fuel too. So we do want to have enough to deorbit. That would be pretty sad if we left old Bob up here in space. Alright, 300 should definitely be high orbit. I'm not going to touch it anymore. We're still over the water. Here's the nice sunrise. Beautiful. Can't wait to get solar panels on this thing. It'll make our life so much easier. In fact, once we get all this science, that's definitely what we're going to do. We are going to get dat. Oh, totally missed a couple biomes. Grasslands, shores. Man, they're changing very quickly. We should be approaching the desert very soon because, yep, we're almost done here. Oh, we are in the deserts. Let's grab that EVA real quick. Deserts. Got it. Boarding. Let's just check the goo. Yeah, we've already got this one. It'll give us an extra 2. Why not? We have 2 of them. What the heck? What the heck? Just checking our electric charge. We're still fine. So you can see we are getting some nice altitude now. Starting to head over the deserts of Kerbin. You know, from this height, you can see a lot of the surface features. Maybe just from really close, it's kind of hard to tell. Not a lot of clouds over the desert anyway, which I guess that makes sense. Still in low space. Coming back to our home continent now. Which will basically be approximately where our apoapsis is. Well, maybe a little further out. There's our home Africa continent right there. Looks just like Africa. Oh, and we're in space high. Okay, so it looks like it's probably about 250 is high space. So let's do an EVA from high space. High over Kerbin. Got it. We'll get him back inside. We'll also do a crew report. It's very round. We'll keep that data. Let's review the goo canister. Goo feels right at home in high orbit. We'll also take the material bay observations. Cool. You know, I hope in some version you can actually paint the capsule with the radioactive materials. That would be kind of fun. But that's us. We've got all the data we can. Let's get back on EVA now. This is when you kind of run around and you want to just collect the data from here. That'll render this inoperable. You need a scientist. Alright, well, we are a scientist. We're going to remove it anyway. And we can restore it because Bob is a scientist. We don't actually need to, though, because we only need to just collect it. And we're not going to really look to do anything else crazy. We might as well take the data from here. We'll take it. We'll board. So all this messages basically means you have now taken the data and put it in the capsule, which is exactly what we want. And let's go down the ladder here. We might have to just get out of here for a sec. That's okay. It's a little disorienting sometimes being on an EVA. But if we get close enough to this, we should be able to right click. Here we go. Collect data. Remove the data. And my, that looks like our screenshot. What do you guys say? I'd say that's definitely a screenshot and a half right there. In fact, let's see if we can turn this guy around so he's looking at us. There's the screenshot right there. Old smiling Bob with his spacecraft in the background. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I love this game. This game is so great. Let's get him back in. Grab on and board. So we've now stored the material study, and that's awesome. You know, that's like one of those things that I never really realized you could do. And let's review all the stored data. We have 11 things. We have goo, 2 goos in near Kerbin. EVA from all the Kerbin's waters and all the EVAs from all Kerbin's places. High Kerbin EVA. Crew report, high crew report, and material study. Excellent. All that. So we'll keep all that. Keep it all. We have 11 datas of science. That should get us a lot of science. That should be a lot of friggin' science. All right, now we got to get back home again. We don't want to. Whatchamacallit. We don't. Sorry, sometimes I lose my train of thought. We don't want to burn retrograde at the periapsis because we'll have to kill all that. We want to just burn it actually from the apoapsis and collapse in the periapsis. It'll require less fuel to do that. Not that we're you know, struggling with power, but I'm just worried about the fuel. We're not going to land near the KSC, unfortunately, so we won't get as much money back. But I'm not really worried too much about that. This is just a mission for science. It's just a science mission. So here we are at the apoapsis. I'm going to point this thing retrograde, which I believe I am. Yep. And we're just going to fire the engines a little bit. Just to lower. That's probably a little too much. We want to just kind of ease in there. Just kind of ease it in there. Probably gonna land somewhere around here. Actually, I might just push this thing out just a little more. Seems a bit low for me, for my taste. We'll go to like 30, because you don't want to come in here too steep. Because just like real life, if you come in too steep, you'll burn up. Then again, you don't want to be too shallow either, because then you won't slow down enough. We do have all this velocity to kill off. That's probably fine. Alright. Just gonna hang on to... Oh, look at that. Just gonna hang on to all this stuff as long as I can. Hopefully the capsule won't flip over, because again, we won't have that SAS on there to keep us pointed at the retrograde, but hopefully with moving this goo a little higher, that'll help balance out the aerodynamics, so it'll be less difficult to maintain our attitude. I always want a positive attitude. There we go, there I am trying to be funny again. Doesn't really work out too well. Just gonna swivel this thing around. We are getting pretty close to the barrier. We're at it. There we go. So, let's see. It might just separate us right now. We do have all that extra fuel, but that's okay. I'd rather be as aerodynamic as possible. So let's go ahead and jettison it. We do have that nice heat shield that's going to keep us... Oh, so now, you know what? I'm just going to turn on caps lock just so whatever movements I make aren't that extreme. There. Caps lock is good. It makes everything blue here instead of the usual orange. So that whatever movements you do make are less extreme. It kind of takes a little more to press it. But anyway, Let's go ahead and time warp in here. Now we are going to swivel a little bit. As long as we don't swivel too much, we should be okay. A little bit afraid of going further than 2x time warp, so we're just going to leave it right here and kind of see what happens as we get into the atmosphere here. Apologies again for it being in the night side. Every time I do anything in this game, it just always ends up being on the night side. It's just the way it goes sometimes. I'll try to keep it outlined against the... Here we go. Against the galaxy there. So we are going to start to move in here. Now, I'm going to try not to touch the nav ball because, as we saw in a previous episode of mine, everything was going great until I touched the nav ball, and then the ship spun around and pointed the wrong way, but luckily everyone survived. So we're just going to keep it at this heading here and hope that it stays at this heading. Okay, we don't have SES. Bob, he's not a pilot, but somehow he knows how to fly the ship anyway. He's just not as good as Jeb or Valentina. Awesome re-entry effects there. The ablative heat shield holding us, keeping us nice and safe from the deadly rigors of re-entry. You can see the ablator starting to melt away at a very slow pace. Thankfully, we're holding steady. G-force is rising up to about 2 Gs now as we bleed off this speed. Blader's holding it nice. Come on, Bob, you can do it. I have faith in you. Can't tell if that wobbling is from the camera shake or if the craft is actually wobbling. It looks like the craft is dead on, so I think it's just the camera shaking. It's freaking me out a little bit. It looks like we're coming out of it. Our G-force is starting to drop. Our speed is dropping. Not bad, Bob. Not bad at all. I have no clue where we're going to land. It could be over... Looks like we're over the city. Man, it is dark. It is super dark. That's a cool picture right there with the moon in the background. The map is really no help to us either. I'd feel a little bit better if we were landing in the water, but what can you do? Let's go ahead and get the parachute opened. That'll ensure that we hopefully end up safe. Unless we end up tumbling down a mountain, then we won't really. It looks like actually we are on the coast. We might actually luck out here. Yeah, it looks like we're right on the shores. We might actually land in the water, guys. I don't know if you guys can see it. Just because it's the recordings always end up so dark in the dark side, but from my view here, it looks like we are going to end up just off the coast. Probably on the opposite side of the planet. Heard something splash on me. It was the rocket, the other part of the rocket. It looks like, yeah, we are basically we are precisely on the wrong side of the planet here. KSC is right over here. We're on the opposite side. You probably can't get much further away from the KSC, so refund in terms of money is not going to be that much, but it's not that big of a deal because, like I say, this was a mission of science. And that's what we came for, the science. We got the science. Our parachute has opened us. Thought we weren't going to slow down there for a second. Woo! And here we are coming in for a nice soft landing. I'm just going to speed us up a little bit. And that's us. We made it. We're in the water. We already got that. So I think that's a success. I mean, Bob's happy. What does it look like from down there, Bob? Dark ocean. It's kind of scary. Kind of want to get the hell out of here. So let's recover the vessel and let's see what we got. Well, that brought us up to 133. We wound up racking up a whopping 111.6 science. That's amazing. All the EVA reports, each one giving us basically 7.2 science. That's where it basically all came from, as well as the material study and the goo from high orbit. Very good. Yeah, we were 1,817 kilometers from the KSC for only 13% return value, but that's okay. Bob, you did a great job. Two times XP gained, and you got to level 1. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and spend some of that. Yeah, we can probably finish this tier. Let's see. I do want this because I do want to make a basic space plane to look at that area, so we'll research that. And I do want the batteries and the thermometer. We'll get that just underneath. We could have gotten that one if we had just been a little more scientific. Next episode will be more scientific. Let's check out what we have so far. Lots of good things. Lots of good things from Kerbin. Alright, but I think we'll end this episode here. We got the data from around Kerbin. We did complete that contract. They gave us a nice 17,000. We'll end this episode here. In the next episode, maybe we'll fly out to that area that we need to visit. Let's take a look. Yes, we got it. Right about there. Oh, what's that? Huh. That's interesting. There's little locations we can visit. Neat! Anyway, we'll visit that one next episode, so look forward to that, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.